This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. Not much more to say about this one, guys. I mean, just excruciating, heartbreaking, insert awful adjective here. I mean, that was one of the toughest games that the Rays have lost this year. And, we're going to talk about how good Rasmussen was, talk how you can't win scoring 2 runs, how just a lot of flashes of July. Need to bounce back tomorrow. We're going to look ahead. But first, we got to talk about this heartbreak.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The Rays were 1 out from being 3.5 back for a wild card, 1 out from having a win streak, 1 out from, being back. These were the type of games they won in June. They dominated this game. They were ahead for the entire game. They were in control. Rasmussen was as best as he's been all year. Clevenger was dominant. And then Griffin Jax, man, I don't even know if he necessarily did anything wrong. Crawford, great at bat. The 9-hole, it was just hitting the right spot. He made good pitches on Randy. And, that one he even threw to Cal Raleigh wasn't even like an awful pitch. It was a guy that's been one of the best 2 hitters in the American League this season, making a play and doing what MVP candidates do. And that's what he did. So you can fault Griffin Jax, and it's of course, he's before this he gave up 4 home runs in 58 innings or something, and he gives up 1 tonight in one of the biggest moments of the game. But there's just not much more to say than heartbreak, because the Rays were an out of way just from gaining some real momentum, that they haven't had in over 2 months. And that's what makes it even more heartbreaking. This would be, kind of just another game for July. But the Rays were an out away from being right there, being back, being competitive in this wild card again. And now it just feels like you take a step backwards. All that momentum you gained in Anaheim, it just takes a step back because you ruined probably the best start of the year from Drew Rasmussen. You had a chance to not have to worry about beating Wu on Sunday to go win a series. And, it puts immense pressure on the game tomorrow and for Joe Boyle. But, when you have an offense as good as the Mariners with the moves they made at the deadline, it allows them to have more margin of error than the Rays have. And, the Rays didn't capitalize on mistakes. And that's where we get to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
So the obvious turning point is, the Cal Raleigh home run. So we already talked about that. We're going to say that's the turning point. The other turning point was in the top of the 5th when the Rays had a chance to add on. And they have first and second 1 out, Walls, and the 9-hole up. That's your chance to add on. I eventually Junior did in the 6th, but I felt like that was such a big miss. The Mariners did not get a runner into scoring position until the 8th inning. They went 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. One of them yielded 3 RBIs. It's as simple as that. The Rays went 0 for 2. You're not going to win most of the time only getting 2 runners in a scoring position. You're not going to win when you only score 2 runs. And I understand the splits on Castillo and how he lefties hit like 280 against him. But, man, you paid Ha-Seong Kim $15 million. He doesn't need to be sitting against every single right-handed pitcher you face. Yanni's played a bunch. It's fine if you want to give him an extra day. But, man, it's just excruciating. Of course, Josh Lowe absolutely rips one in the bottom of the 9th or top of the 9th. And it was 3 inches foul. It's just kind of been the Rays' way so far this year. And it's tough, man. There's been a lot of gut-wrenching losses. The one to Boston, the one to Philly where the Rays led the whole game when Junior was at first, the Rafaela home run against Boston. I mean, this is one of the 4 toughest losses of the season for the Rays, just because of the momentum that the Rays could have gotten if they would have won. And now it's just a what if. Now the Rays got to go win tomorrow. Got to go win a game tomorrow. It's as simple as that. The Rays have the pitching advantage. The Rays have should have the lineup advantage going up against a righty. But in these games, you really start to miss Jonathan Ronda. You really do. It's going to be really tough for the Rays to kind of mount that comeback if he's not there. And everything's set up perfectly for the Rays. They wanted their 7, 8, 9 guys are Clevenger, Jackson, Fairbanks. They wanted it set up like this. This is how they wanted it. Get it to our bullpen because this is guy we traded a guy. We still have a ton of confidence in. We traded a high level guy for him. So it's not. I don't really think it's even on Griffin Jax. I thought he made good pitches. I really thought he did. I thought Cal Raleigh was just a little bit better in that moment. And to 99% of batters, that pitch probably isn't a home run. And that's just it's unfortunate because I really thought the Rays controlled the game. I thought the Rays had more hard hit balls. I thought the Rays put more the pitching dominated more. So I don't know what to say, guys. It's tough. This is one of the tougher ones this season because again, the Rays were an out away from being out of it. So it's as simple as that. But we'll talk more about that bullpen, talk about how the flashes of July, talk about the game tomorrow, right after this. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for a concert ticket to go on sale, or only to lose your spot to a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. You guys know I was in Anaheim. I use Game Time to get my tickets. You can see your seat where you're going to sit from, and it's just the best ticket site to go for right now. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets or baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. This episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason always heating up, and college football isn't far behind. It's a perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before Week 1 kicks off. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. I've already made a few of my season-long picks. Personally, I love Baker Mayfield over 3,800 yards. Josh Allen over 27.5 touchdowns feels like good shots. Download Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 off in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. Run your game. So, I have to put, shades of July because that's what it was, man. I mean, the bullpen was so bad in July, and the bullpen, what do you think about Griffin Jax or not? The bullpen has lost this team more games than it's won it. It won them a game in Anaheim. It won them the game on Wednesday in Anaheim. But you can just go down the list and how many times they've lost it. And I thought we were out of it. I thought we were through it. And it's just tough, man. Because again, I really thought if the Rays won this game, they're right there, man. And it's just a gut punch. A lot of teams ahead of them lost. Almost every team that the Rays needed to lose today lost. And it's just, again, big opportunity missed to, gain some ground right there to say the very least. But, beautiful thing about baseball, the Rays got to go win a game tomorrow. So let's talk about that game tomorrow. It will be Joe Boyle going for the Rays against Logan Evans. Logan Evans probably the least strong starting pitcher for the Mariners, and he's still really good. That just shows, I think the Mariners have the best starting staff in baseball. Just shows kind of how good the Mariners is. Logan Evans this year, 5-4, 4.3 ERA. 53 strikeouts on the season his last time out, 5 innings, five hits, 3 runs. He's given up 9 runs combined his last two outings. So he's shown some chinks in the armor. So again, I think the Rays can really, really get on him. And the key has been scoring first. The Rays have scored first almost every single game this road trip. The last 3 games they've scored first. They need to continue to score first. Simple as that. And then for Joe Boyle, we know how good he's been lately. He needs to continue to be good. Last time out against the best lineup in baseball, the Dodgers, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Need that again tomorrow. Would like to see him maybe even get pushed for 6th inning But the bullpen's in good shape. You said it can go 2 innings tomorrow. Englert can go 2 innings. Montgomery can throw. You name it. Besides Jax, they can probably throw tomorrow. I even think that if they needed Clevenger in a pinch, he could throw. But let's get to your guys' comments as we go to Gary. And this was a perfect way to put it. He said that was an excruciating loss. It really was. When the team isn't in playoff position at this time of the year, every loss is brutal. But this one even more because the Rays came so close to shutting Seattle out. It's not about shutting Seattle out, shutting them out. It's the way that they lost. As we go to 99/22, who is a Yankees fan in here. So really appreciate all your comments. He says you can win by scoring 2 runs. You're not going to win often by scoring 2 runs. And obviously you have not been following the Rays a lot this season because the Rays have been in this position a million times before. So he says, bro, just blame Jax. Why are you talking about the Rays offense? Because the Rays offense was bad today. It's as simple as that. You can't only get 2 chances with runners in score position, and that was all in 1 inning and expect to win. You can't score 2 runs and expect to win. And he says, I can't always blame the offense. Bullpen needs to do his job. Again, you obviously have not watched any Rays baseball this second half of the year because the Rays bullpen has not done their job. So if there's any uneducated fans like 99/22 that are also in here, the Rays since July have had one of the worst bullpens in baseball. Since July, the Rays bullpen has probably blown them at least 12, 13 games. So the offense needs to score more than 2 runs. It's as simple as that. And Gary brings up a good point. Had the right guys up in the 9th, Brandon Lowe, Junior, and Josh Lowe cannot get it done. Really disappointed that Brandon Lowe took 3-1 and 3-2 looking. He's a guy that's so good when he's in attack mode. And he basically, maybe he was looking for the slider, but I thought he was more banking on the walk than, trying to be aggressive there, which is tough to see. Let's go to Raymay. Says, why is Gray playing over Kim? Kim hasn't played all season, has enough time off. Yeah, it's something I talked about earlier. It's because Castillo is averaging his lefties is 280 against righties. It's like 200. So, but I agree with you. It's ridiculous. If you're paying a guy $15 million, he needs to play every day. It's as simple as that. It's awful. As we go to Matt Blankenship, something I actually disagree with. He says Jax could have just walked Raleigh. He was down 2 on the count anyway. But then you move the tie and run into scoring position where a base hit scores 2. In that spot there, it had to be an extra base hit to score the 2. So again, I didn't think Jax made that bad of pitches. The first 2 pitches to Raleigh weren't good, which got him behind. But again, that sweeper, hung a little bit, but then it was at the bottom of the zone. It kind of simple as that. But this is the biggest key of the game. It's on Jax. Alexander says on Jax, you give a pitch to the 8-9 hitter, you put yourself in those situations. Offense only scored 2, but you got to win close games. Yes, when you give your 8-9 guys a 2-run lead, you should win. I understand that, but you got to score more than 2 runs to win. It's kind of as simple as that. And then their 8 hitters is Crawford, who was their leadoff guy for over 100 games this year. So that's not your traditional 8-hole guy. And then the 9-hole was 6 inches away from being out. Again, it was soft contact. I can go get that exact mile per hour off his single. He hit it. Oh, never mind. He hit it 102. What am I talking about? But, it was one of those 102s where it's kind of when Yandy hits it right into the ground. And it's 102 right when it hits the ground. By the time it gets to Tristan Gray, it's going like 80. So, again, he was positioned where statistically he's supposed to be positioned, and he came up 6 inches short. So, I don't expect, Tristan Peters. I don't expect Tristan Gray to play tomorrow. I expect Ha-Seong Kim, Brandon Lowe, Yandy, Junior, Fiducia, and then normal outfield with, Magnum, Simpson, and Josh Lowe. So I think the Rays, even against the stats, you got to roll out your best guys this time of the year. You're 4.5 back in the wild card. A lot of the teams that you needed to lose today lost. So just to look, the teams ahead of the Rays today that lost include Kansas City lost, New York lost. Those are the 2 big ones that are right there with them. Cleveland, who's ahead of them, lost. Anaheim, who's right behind them, lost. Texas, who's ahead of them, lost. I mean, really big missed opportunity for the Rays to get a game on everyone. And again, there's a lot of time left. The Rays, if we're taking the 10-game sample size from starting 2 games ago, the Rays can still win 7 out of 10. And that's what it's going to take to get back into this. Right now, they are 2-1. Got to go win tomorrow. So it's as simple as that. Got to go win a ball game tomorrow. So we previewed that game already. A lot's going to be on Joe Boyle's shoulders, but if he's in the zone, I'm really confident in his stuff that he'll be able to get it done. So if you guys have any more comments, make sure you get them in. If you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a like and comment as well. Again, I fully expect the Rays to come out. It's gonna be interesting how they come out, man. I mean, this was such a gut punch. They did everything right except capitalizing sometimes on offense, but they do everything right, and you give it to your 8-9 guys with a 2-run lead, and you should win that game almost every time. And they couldn't get it done. Not only that, you go to the 8th, 7, 8, 9 coming up. So yeah, I agree with you guys. 8, 9 getting on. I don't know what else you expected. The Rays 8, 9 hitters, and when the Rays were really going, the bottom of the lineup was a 4. 7, 8, 9 was scoring runs and driving runs in at an elite level, and they have not been doing that lately. Really, outside of Taylor Walls, ironically enough. But simple as that. Rays have to go win a game tomorrow. Again, it's Joe Boyle versus Logan Evans. Logan Evans, this is his first year in the big leagues. Again, the Rays should have a strong pitching advantage. The Rays should, be able to get on Evans a little bit. So again, lefties hit 280 against him, righties hit 266 against him. He's a guy that I think has kind of escaped some other big kind of big games. He pitches better at home. He's 3-0 at home with a 3 ERA. Struggles on the road a little bit, but again, I think this is a guy that is kind of due for another big game. As he's allowed 9 runs his last 2 games. As we go, Skip Brower says, "Do you think the Rays bullpen needs to make improvements?" I think no. I think they made the improvements. This is just about guys succeeding in those spots. And Griffin Jax got in a sticky situation on Wednesday and got out of it. Today, he couldn't get out of it. I expect next time for him to get out of it. But the Rays bullpen's still in a good spot, and it's tough today when they go to Brash because their closer, who has been the best closer in baseball, and his name is escaping my mind right now, was down because he's pitched a lot lately. But Munoz, so I have to face him tomorrow if the Rays are down in the 9th. Let's hope the Rays are not down in the 9th tomorrow. Again, the good thing about baseball, Rays get to flush this and go out there and play tomorrow. If they win tomorrow, everything's back on track. If they lose tomorrow, you really start to run out of time with everything to get back going. But we'll talk about that tomorrow night, same time as tonight. So again, another 9:40 Eastern game, which is brutal. I thought the Saturday game we could get an afternoon game, but no, we could not. But again, if you guys have watched the whole live, really appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out, and we will see you tomorrow night.